I think it's easy to look at it from the outside and say, this is a massive pain in the arse for Portugal. And I think, yeah, to an extent, it is a massive pain in the arse for Portugal. But Portugal have been dealing with this for the best part of a decade and a half.
How much will the Ronaldo drama impact Portugal's tournament? That's the real big question, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's completely left him yet. Of course, he's not the player he was at his absolute peak. I think the difficulty for him is he is in a World Cup year where Leo Messi was last year, in that he hasn't had a proper pre-season. And that just won't wash at this stage in his career. It was remarkable, really, to see in the last round of Nations League games, Portugal playing him for every minute to try and get him into a position to increase his match fitness, which is... really, it's a lost cause. You can't do that at international level. There's not enough game time, and obviously went back to United and hasn't played all the games. And I think he knows that he's not ready. It's a different version of the frustration that he put up with in the 2014 World Cup. Now, you know, Fernando Santos has been excellent in governing him, and I think Ronaldo has accepted him governing him in a way that maybe he wouldn't accept other coaches and clubs governing him in previous tournaments. They created a system where in 2016 where Ronaldo had to do less running, and even though it was probably a 70% Ronaldo, it worked. But I'm not sure it does now, because I think there's a sea change in Portuguese football in the way that he's perceived. He's not unchallengeable now, although I still think Fernando Santos starts the tournament with him. But you know, it's going to be, if he struggles like he struggled for Manchester United, it's going to be increasingly hard to justify. All I would say in the timing of this interview, and I know it's easy to think that clearly it's meant to do something in terms of his club situation. It's meant to get them closer to a mutual rescission of the contract so he can go and find himself a new club and play some games in January. I think it's easy to look at it from the outside and say, this is a massive pain in the arse for Portugal. And I think, yeah, to an extent, it is a massive pain in the arse for Portugal. But Portugal have been dealing with this for the best part of a decade and a half. You know, I remember I've been to a couple of tournaments with Portugal, well, more than a couple of tournaments with Portugal, and the way they've governed the whole Ronaldo circus, and because he's a superstar and they're a country of under 10 million people, it always has been a bit of a struggle to keep a lid on it. I think they've got better at dealing with it as time goes by. And all this stuff, you saw Fernando Santos talking about it in the press conference. It's like he said, well, it's a personal interview. It won't affect the national team. And it won't as much as it would other national teams, because they are used to all this stuff. The only question is whether he can still be useful on the pitch as a starter at his current level of fitness.
Given this is Ronaldo and he's done it so many times, we can't discount the possibility that he gets a hat-trick in one of the group stages, and that's it. Takes off the shirt. What a legend. His army of online followers are giving us abuse. His form at Manchester United makes that less likely than it's ever been before. And if that continues, and as Andy says, he does go in looking pretty undercooked, we could well have a situation where, yes, I think he'll obviously play in the first game or the first two games, but where Santos suddenly has to make this big decision that it's time to drop Ronaldo to save their campaign. I think that is a significant possibility for this tournament.
And you know what? The other thing, Miguel, is, as you were saying, this World Cup shouldn't really be a pivotal part of the Ronaldo story, because his career has already been written. He's already achieved some amazing things. But he's almost put himself in a position where this World Cup is as important to his legacy as it is to Messi's or Neymar. And we shouldn't be having this discussion.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, he should be going to this tournament as kind of the elder statesman of the Portuguese team. But as you say, I mean, even though he's the greatest player in Portuguese history, all these goals, all these records, finally broke their international drought or played a significant part in it, even if he wasn't the sideline in the final.
Yeah.
And yet, so as you say, he's put himself under, and because of the circus he's created, and because of everything going on at Manchester United, and how evidently this is getting to him, he's put himself under pressure to perform. And it's all the more so because what really strikes about the interview is how little he actually seems to confront or come across criticism of himself. It's like he just can't handle it. He cuts off anyone who criticises him. They're not my friends. It's childish.